If you've ever wondered how Netflix keeps its massive engine running, recommending what you're going to binge next, greenlighting the new shows, and tailoring every click to your taste, here's a little secret. It's not just about their sexy algorithms or top tier engineers. The real MVP is data governance. Yep. The least glamorous part of tech turns out to be Netflix's secret weapon. So let's talk about how Netflix built one of the most advanced data governance strategies in the industry and how it's quietly powering everything from their recommendation engine to their global expansion. It starts with a platform they call the Netflix Data Catalog or NDC. Think of it as the central nervous system for all of Netflix's data. Originally, NDC was just focused on privacy, helping make sure that Netflix didn't accidentally leak or misuse user data. But over time, it's evolved into something much bigger. Today, it's where Netflix manages metadata across everything: streaming systems, data lakes, machine learning models, you name it. And here's the cool part: they didn't just build everything from scratch. Netflix made the bold move to replace their homegrown catalog system with DataHub, an open source metadata platform. Now, why did they do that? Because they realized that maintaining a custom system was slowing them down. With DataHub, they could upgrade easily and they could scale faster. Now, managing data isn't just about storing it, it's also about knowing who owns it. And Netflix had a problem. Their old system tracked ownership at the individual level, which sounds fine until people leave or switch teams. That's kind of how most of the organizations also have it. They have individuals owning the systems. So what they did was they flipped the model. Now ownership lives with teams and not individuals. This change means when a team launches a product or manages a data pipeline, they're on the hook for making sure that the data is clean, compliant, and well documented. And since responsibilities are tied to departments, it's way easier to maintain accountability even as the organization evolves. And they didn't stop there. Netflix built a custom ownership framework inside DataHub to reflect the real structure of their org. Different teams can now define what ownership looks like for them without relying on a central platform team to do all of the tagging. Now imagine there are two teams. Team A for content analytics, which defines ownership as the analytics manager and engineering lead, while Team B, which is the marketing data, wants ownership to be marketing data steward and privacy officer. In a traditional catalog, someone from the central platform team would need to manually assign those owners and maintain them, but with Netflix's custom framework, each team defines the structure themselves and their definitions automatically apply to their assets. The system then uses these rules to tag assets accordingly without central manual work. This makes it scalable and aligned with how teams actually work. Now let's talk policies. Most companies enforce governance rules from the top down and hope they work across every team. Netflix, not so much. They built a policy engine that's centralized but fully customizable. That means that data stewards, privacy teams, and even product teams can define the rules that they care about. If you want to restrict access to sensitive columns, you can. If you need a custom policy for GDPR data, go for it. The system supports Netflix's federated model with central standards locally implemented. And on top of that, they're building a detection framework that scans across the company data to identify issues real time. It flags violations, measures risk, and gives team a dashboard that they can actually use. One of the biggest challenges in data governance is data lineage, knowing where your data came from, how it got there, and where it's been transformed along the way. Netflix treats this like a first class problem. Their lineage system tracks everything from applications to batch processes and even machine learning models. They don't just capture relationship, they conform the data so everything is described in a unified, understandable way. Now, why does this matter? Because without trust, lineage data can actually make things worse. If users can't rely on what they're seeing, they'll stop using it altogether. And Netflix knows this. So their entire approach is built around building trust through transparency. Netflix has created an impressively comprehensive lineage system that tracks data from the moment you click play in their app all the way to the dashboards that are used by business leaders. They use a generic graph model that describes relationship between any two entities. That model supports a single unified repository for things such as search, SLA tracking, or cost attribution. So someone can literally trace an insight back from the dashboard to Spark, to Kafka, to the original user event, and do it all transparently. Now let's talk about their big data portal integration. Netflix's big data portal serves as the primary visual interface for data management and has been the main consumer of lineage data. The portal uses lineage information for ranking search results based on data relationship, for showing table column usage for downstream jobs, for deriving upstream dependencies in workflows, and building visibility of jobs writing to downstream tables. Here's an example. If you've ever changed a table structure and accidentally broke 9 downstream dashboards, Netflix avoids that with their lineage power change tools. Data flow migration tool automatically identifies all downstream dependencies and sends out notification to the right owners. It also tracks migration progress so nobody's left with broken code or missed warnings. Its governance meets coordination, which means it empowers teams to change confidently instead of panicking when something fails. Now, if you know anything about Netflix's company culture, you've probably heard of the phrase context, not control. That mindset shows up in how they govern their data too. Instead of handing out mandates, they give teams context. Here's the framework, here's the why. Now go make smart decisions. Data scientists aren't just users of governance, they're actually participants. They're building their own pipeline, they're managing their own documentation, and even creating their own visualizations. And that is what we mean by governance not being a blocker, but an enabler. And because data folks are embedded across the business, from content to marketing to engineering, governance happens in the flow of work, not as a separate system. And that's what makes it stick. Data quality, they built a centralized detection framework that automatically samples dataset outputs, detect anomalies, and flags data quality issues before data reaches end. As they put it, the tables we publish are audited before you even publish them for the downstream use. This proactive stance ensures data engineers and analysts never work with broken inputs. They catch issues at the source, not when someone opens the dashboard and says, well, that does not look right. The system automatically identifies sources data quality issues at multiple steps of the data pipeline. It includes anomaly detection techniques for datasets with many dimensions that are highly cardinal. Evaluations are set up in an automated fashion to make it easy for humans to investigate issues. This proactive approach prevents data from entering downstream systems rather than catching problems after they have already impacted the business processes. Now, here's what makes Netflix different. They treat data governance like a product, not a policy. They build tools that are actually useful, give ownership to the people closest to the data, and invest in transparency at every level. The platform is evolving constantly from privacy and compliance to machine learning and now AI governance, and they're doing it all without slowing down innovation. So, what can we learn from Netflix? Well, their data governance strategy is clearly impressive. It's robust, it's flexible, it's powering innovation at a scale very few companies can match. But something to keep in mind is that it works so well, not just because of the technology, but because of the environment that it's built in. Netflix operates in a high trust, high autonomy culture. Their governance success isn't just about ownership models or lineage tools, it's about how deeply those systems are woven into their organizational DNA. Their context, not control philosophy, their self-serve platforms, even their shift to org-based ownership, these only work because the people using them are trusted to act responsibly and empowered to solve problems on their own. That's not something every company can just copy and paste. If you're in a heavily regulated industry or your company has a more traditional culture, Netflix's model might feel like a bad fit. You can't simply lift their playbook and expect the same results. But what you can do is take these principles, designing governance to enable and not just restrict, build tools that empower teams, not slow them down, and most importantly, make sure your governance strategy aligns with how your organization actually works. Because at the end of the day, governance isn't just about managing data, it's about building trust, it's about driving clarity, and making sure that the right people can use the right data to do the right work at the right time. Netflix shows us what's possible when all of that comes together. The question is, how will you design a governance model that works for your world?